welcome to the advanced NLP discussion. I guess to kick things off, we'll just introduce ourselves. I can start us off. My name is Matthew. I'm the panel moderator, and I'm a postdoc at Harvard in the edge computing group. And we're looking at various things related to sort of natural language processing and large language models, the most prevalent of which is trying to sort of compress language models so they can fit on edge devices such as smartphones, and then also benchmarking efforts for large language models algorithms. Yeah, so go ahead.
Thanks,
guys.
Matt. My name's Brad Hastedt. I work for a company called TransPerfect, which is the largest translations and language technology company in the world. The division I manage is called DataForce. That's our AI data services division. We are a company that supports data science teams, product teams, machine learning engineering teams with human-labeled training data and collection for multimodal projects, speech, NLP, of course, conversational AI, and computer vision. Probably don't have to tell this room that data quality is paramount when building AI, so that's really where we partner alongside our clients, is optimizing those training data sets at the beginning part of the model building process and throughout each iteration.
Hi, this is Divya, Mereddy. I have been working in the industry from past 7 years, worked for multiple companies like AT&T, 7-Eleven, Ascena Retail, Corteva AgriScience. My experience is kind of diversified. I worked in traditional ML, classifications, regressions, NLP, vision, etc.
Hi, Shubham this side. I'm a data scientist from Nordstrom. I have a varied experience as well. Prior to Nordstrom, I was working in a healthcare company, did machine learning and NLP-related projects there. Prior to that, I was at Amazon, did machine learning and NLP-related projects there. Did my master's from Cornell University, and now I'm here, very excited to discuss advanced NLP models.
Awesome, yeah, thanks guys. I guess we'll just jump in with our first topic, which is pretty broad in scope. Can each of you share one or two of the most exciting NLP use cases in your organization or industry currently? And also, how have they transformed your operations or customer experiences?
Me first?
Yeah, go ahead.
For us, a real-time case right now that's going on is super exciting with a global telecom company that was having a lot of trouble with their existing chatbot. It is your traditional rules-based FAQ bot that if you don't prompt it or you ask it a question that it doesn't understand, it directs you right to the 800 line anyway, which kind of defeats the purpose. And so we embarked at the tail end of last year helping create and craft input and output responses and prompts in 30 different languages to help them train up a more sophisticated conversational AI model that can interact and speak the way humans actually talk to each other and understand, also tied into their internal nomenclature and knowledge base, how to answer a customer when they make a request or want to handle something online via the chat. And so that is being deployed right now. We've localized it into over 20 different locales now. And that is something that has completely transformed their ability to handle customer inquiries and really redeploy their human capital to handle higher value type tasks and responses from clients.
In my overall experience, I found developing a BERT model on AgriScience DNA information quite exciting. Definitely, a DNA is not a language. It's just a combination of letters, but developing, bringing context and developing the same logic that we are using in the language, like sequence of words or sequence of letters. Implementing that in DNA, it really was very exciting. It is an out-of-box solution. Apart from that, I also found creating item categorization and subcategorization based on NLP. It is also quite exciting. It helped us to correct wrongly labeled items. It was very improved the quality of the data and improved all of our data science models approximately by 5% performance. So that's kind of cool. I think apart from my experience, I found how NLP is utilized in robots learning, in reinforcement learning, how to use NLP in feedback providing or utilizing NLP in initial training instructions, processing. That's kind of cool. I didn't work on it, but those two applications are quite exciting in NLP for me, at least.
Yeah. So I'm going to discuss specifically about the Nordstrom projects. So Nordstrom is a leader in fashion retail, and it's a digital-first platform. And our goal is to make sure that customers have amazing shopping experience when they visit our website, and they should feel and look the best when they visit our website. And the products at Nordstrom have images and text data associated with it. And because of that, there are quite a few interesting NLP use cases that come into the picture. One of them being generating AI-based outfits for the customers when they visit our website. Another being curating various products using vector search for merchandisers. For example, when they search for beach outfits, there are relevant products returned for the merchandisers, and they can curate that content. Another being navigation filters. So given a product, is this outfit related to occasion, bridal, or not? So this is another important and critical use case for us. And all of these use cases enhance customer experience when they go to visit Nordstrom.com and buy a particular product. So these are the...
Yeah, thanks everyone. It's quite fascinating to just see the broad scope of applications for NLP. I remember when I was doing my PhD, I was looking at basically predicting molecular properties of chemicals by having their atom structures and stuff. And then you've got all of these other applications going on. So in that vein, I guess the second question is, as NLP becomes sort of more integrated into software tools and business applications, what strategies have you employed in your organizations to ensure effective implementation and maximize their benefits? Do you want to kick it off as well, Brian?
Yeah, for us, and I think my panelists will have more extensive answers, but for us, just as a company, our business, our global business is translation, it's language. And it's offering an AI solution for machine translation along with human translation as well. But we recognized a long time ago, I mean, back in 2020, I think, that we had to partner with OpenAI and companies like that to make sure that we're staying ahead of the game and offering the maximum benefit to our client with regard to language and translation services. So, I encourage looking into partnerships like that and integrating those types of technologies into your teams.
Do you have any other partnerships other than OpenAI, or is that the major one?
That's the major one right now, yeah. But probably open to more, depending on what our needs are and then what our clients' needs are.
I definitely say the first things that we need to consider are size of the data and what is the quality of the data. For NLP models, at least for complex models, we need a lot of data, really a lot of data. But okay, great, we got the data using maybe APIs, outsources, whatever. Once we get the data, that is again a problem because it needs a lot of resources. So now the quality comes to the play. Improving the quality is also important, and that can be achieved with better filtering strategies or maybe better resources utilization or concentrating on just the business specific or maybe achieving 95% of the business cases, not just concentrating on everything. I will explain further in my next questions about how I particularly solve this problem, concentrating on the business case not just considering the complete data. In addition to that, when we talk about software integration, I think how we are integrating NLP systems with the software is also an important thing. If your NLP search system is taking maybe 30 minutes or an hour to give the response, is that good? No, right? So we definitely have to make sure we have a smooth and seamless transition while using NLP applications. The response time has to be milliseconds or seconds.
Yeah, I think both of you have covered quite a few interesting points regarding this question. Regarding integration with business applications and software applications, one of the things that I've noticed is having a strong collaboration with business stakeholders and software engineering teams helps a lot in delivering NLP-based projects. Another thing that I've noticed is having continuous learning sessions within the team, discussing latest research trends on regular basis helps in delivering these projects. Another thing that I've noticed is having the ability to utilize the right tool given the problem helps a lot in a long run. One of the tools that we, as I discussed in the previous question, the products at Nordstrom have both images and text data. So what we have done is we have built a multimodal model in which we, when we pass an image or text, we get a fixed size embedding. And those embeddings are then used for various NLP use cases. Now, that is the right tool given the problem, and it has helped us in solving a variety of problems. Besides that, I think focusing a lot on interpretability of the models helps in fostering building the confidence across different teams, whether it may be business stakeholders or engineering teams. So all these strategies have helped.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that real quick. When you mentioned business stakeholders and your learning sessions, do you find it important to also involve those different stakeholders, even if they are non-technical? They may have certain domain expertise and can help support what you're building.
It definitely helps. It gives data scientists a viewpoint of how business stakeholders are seeing the problem and how we would like to approach and solve that particular problem, and what evaluation metrics we should think about while building a model, and what we should focus on actually right in the beginning of the project itself. And then regular meetings, regular things help as well.
Yeah, you also mentioned interpretability, Shubham, and I'm just curious, like, how do you assess that for a language model? Because that's something that's very under research right now in academia. So I'm just, do you do any of that at Nordstrom?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Like interpretability analysis of the language models.
Yeah, so we use quite a few different libraries. Lime and Shap is very common, and LE5 is also another library which helps explain with what text is being considered important by the model. And then there are different visualization apps that we have built for a particular NLP project, which showcase our engineering partners and business stakeholders what actually is going on and how model is seeing a particular input. So all of these different libraries plus visualization apps help in building the confidence across with different partners.
Definitely, I completely agree with that. In fact, when we are starting working on an NLP project, it is definitely important to first think about the scope of the NLP, whether NLP can be the best solution or can we replace that with some other basic classification techniques. Because NLP is definitely a little bit complicated than a basic logistic regression. So if there is no need, it's better not to go there. Understanding the scope is important, and choosing the best tool is also very important. In my experience, I understood that using advanced pre-trained models like BERT can give better results in most of the business cases compared to just using a logistic regression with NLP features like count or term frequency or inverse term frequency. So I think choosing the right tool, right machine learning technique within NLP is also important.
Okay, I guess this leads on nicely to the third question, which is about the elephant in the room, which is large language models. So now we have Bard and ChatGPT, those kind of things. They got pretty good recently. It's especially interesting around Harvard. Like in the fall semester, you saw no one using it, and all of a sudden, every student was using it for every single assignment. And you'd find it hard to find someone who actually wrote their own essay. What impacts have you observed sort of from this within your own respective fields?
From a business perspective and all the stakeholders involved, I mean, you're right. It's been the conversations. It's the number one topic. If you are, reaching out to a potential client and you mentioned, hey, we're working with generative AI, or we're working with teams that are building large language models and training them. We've got a little bit of experience there, wondering what you're doing. You get an instant conversation. So it's I would say the number one topic in AI right now is LLMs, and that's really what we're seeing from a consulting point of view.
Yeah, definitely. I think ChatGPT is the number one topic everywhere. That I completely agree. But in my working environment in my previous companies, I was not able to use the ChatGPT directly because of the data security, and we don't have business accounts for our companies with ChatGPT or other Brad, so we were not able to use them directly, but every one of my teammates are using ChatGPT, whether for creating doc strings for generic functions, not very security concerned functions, and improve the documentation. And as a data scientist, we work on new thing every single day. One day we work on imbalanced data, the next day we work on maybe some NLP things. So we have to learn every single day. ChatGPT is kind of providing that basic information. ChatGPT is kind of working as an assistant. Whenever I'm kind of starting to learn NLP, I'm like, hey ChatGPT, can you give me a basic code to get term frequency and inverse term frequency? It is just providing me the code directly, so I can maybe start there and improve it accordingly. So in simple terms, we are not using the ChatGPT in our business, but ChatGPT has made our lives easier. It became an assistant to every one of our team members, to be honest.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the data security aspect. I was curious when you said that, like, is that a good motivation for companies deploying their own language models, or do you see sort of people having like an AWS style structure where everyone sort of pulls from the God model of a big tech company?
So if the companies have business accounts, so AWS or maybe ChatGPT in future, they will provide security, and they make sure they build the cyber security walls, everything is secured enough. But in this stage, all of our team members just have open accounts, just our personal accounts. So if we provide any information to OpenAI through ChatGPT, OpenAI can utilize that, right? Because we provided it as a open data. But if they have a business accounts and both the companies are working together officially, then I think all the security precautions will be taken. And in the stage, yes, definitely AWS is taking a lot of precautions. I have been working on AWS from nearly 6 to 7 years. In every company, it is secured enough. We were not even able to import files to our AWS in some companies. Literally from my system, I cannot send a file to AWS. So that secured it was, yeah.
Yes. Do you want to add on to that, Shubham, about the language models? What impacts have you seen?
Yeah, I think in general, what these GPT-based models have done is they have allowed us to think about core NLP problems in a different way, like how to approach and solve these core NLP problems in a different way. And I'm sort of referring to prompt engineering here as well. And there are quite a few fields which I think are going to be impacted a lot. I think having an ability to detect the intent of your customers, would be enhanced a lot when we utilize models like GPT. Understanding what is the intent of the shopper when they visit our website based on the query they've executed on your platform. Another area I can think of is product recommendation, where getting an understanding of your customers' tastes and preferences based on their activity on your website is another thing. I think one more thing is customer service functions are going to be impacted a lot. The amount of time it takes to resolve a particular customer query will be reduced a lot depending on the application you create utilizing these models. So I think these are domains which I think are going to be impacted.
Okay. Yeah, I guess let's move on to question 4. So this question is on, we've kind of already discussed it. It's about challenges when implementing NLP technologies. I guess what challenges have you guys come across when implementing these, and how have you addressed them? I imagine they're quite context specific.
It is for us, and we deal with the data aspect, right? And that's typically when we first engage with a client. It's the data. There might not be enough of it. There might be a lot of it, but it's extremely unstructured, not labeled, kind of useless at that point to begin training a model. So that's really where we come in and help support that. And then the other challenge is it might need to be in different languages and locales. And so that is typically a big challenge for clients when implementing models.
Again, for this, I have to reiterate the importance of data quantity and quality. When I started developing the models, most of the cases in NLP models, I had a lot of issues with data quantity, not having enough information to get good performance. Performance is directly correlated with the data quantity we have. So once I start collecting a lot of data, I started having resource issues. So even TPUs, GPUs are not enough. So I had to concentrate on data filtering. So in one of the retail application, I had to filter some of the data based on business cases. In retail, usually the sales per item decreases drastically. For example, sales of a product A can be infinitely higher than sales of a product C. It reduces exponentially. So if I just concentrate on top X% of the products, I think that should be enough, right? Because business just need to concentrate on only the top sale products, and especially I worked on recommendations at that stage. So in recommendations, we always recommend popular products, right? Not low popular products. So if I filter out the top X% of high sales products, it worked. I got good results with low resources. Yeah, that is one of the problem I faced. And the other one, I think, context understanding. I utilized BERT for predicting a similarity between different items based on text information. And my BERT model was telling rain perfume is very similar to umbrella product. That makes sense, right? Rain perfume, they are very similar, but the rain perfume is just a name. It has nothing to do with rain or umbrella. So I have to make sure the model is understanding the context properly. We resolve that by removing the brand names and the nouns, which has nothing to do with the product description. It improved the performance a lot. I think the last one I want to share is developing the NLP models specific to the brand. As I mentioned before, we developed the AgriScience BERT model, developing similarity prediction model for DNA. So it doesn't have any language. It's completely different to BERT, the transformers. But they have strong capabilities on understanding how the words are related and how to bring the context from sentences. But in my domain, I don't need any of that. It is quite complicated, and I don't need that complicated part. So I need to make my model to understand just the combination of letters. DNA is more like XXX, YYY, ZZZ, right? So I need to make my model understand this words combination. What is the context of context when XXX is together, or maybe XYZ is together? That's what I want my model to understand. So to make the BERT and all the process domain specific, we trained our transformers using all the DNA data available in the company. Then we fine-tune it using con DNA so that we were able to develop a convert model. So yeah, I think these are some of the very important challenges I faced in my NLP work.
On the data quality challenge and understanding context that you said, and your team encounters bandwidth issues because there is just so much data. How do you address all that internally, or are there other methods?
For data quality, yes, we handle everything internally. Maybe if we couldn't have any solution, then maybe we would have went with improving the resources, but I don't think we want to do that. We have at that stage, I think we have some millions of items. So developing a millions versus million similarity matrix, it's quite complicated. So it doesn't worth developing that model even when we calculate the ROI as well. So what we thought is, let's just concentrate on more famous products. Again, it is a personalized system, so we don't need to concentrate on less famous products. That's how we filtered it. But we also followed some other techniques like removing outliers, developing proper filtering techniques, etc. But I think everybody do that.
Do you wanna go? Yeah. Go ahead.
I think both of you have covered most of the topics that I wanted to share as well. I cannot stress the importance of having a good data infrastructure when it comes to solving some of the problems when implementing NLP projects. Having a good robust data annotation pipelines and having a good mechanism of collaborating with your internal data annotation team, it really sets the NLP project in a good, strong first foot. And it has far-reaching impacts when it comes to actually deploying the model in production later on.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That's very insightful. On that vein, I was just thinking in academia, one of the issues we've been seeing is, I guess, data ethics issues surrounding language models. Specifically, I'm thinking of like text-to-image prompt generation. So in the last month, we just collaborated on a paper with Google DeepMind called, it's got a fun name, it's called Adversarial Nibbler. And it is basically using safe prompts to produce unsafe images. So an example of this might be like a baby lying in a pool of red paint, for example. And so then you've created an image which looks, it is like an adversarial example for that. And so that gets into sort of some gray areas in terms of ethics. And so I thought like, I was wondering if you have any sort of issues similar to that in your organizations. Like, how do you navigate issues of privacy, bias, and ethics?
Well, we believe in the human-in-the-loop methodology. So we would, scale up teams of human annotators to rate for potentially toxic things like that image might produce, right? Or like the text prompt for that image might produce, right? I would imagine it's going to be fully automated one day, and that might be another one of your questions, what's going to happen. But yeah, as it is right now, the way we interact with large teams that are working with these types of data sets, and particularly when it might be something toxic like that, that's where the human in the loop still matters, to provide context, to rate not only the output, but rate those prompts in that particular example, so that it can go back to a particular team and they can use reinforcement learning to make the model more accurate. So that's kind of how we're engaging.
Okay. What about you, Divya?
I work more on NLP patch models. So our software is the one who is providing the input, but not any user. So these type of security concerns are very rare, but in general, we don't have a lot of security and bias checking methodologies in our models. A lot of the time, in most of the companies, I saw very sensitive information is either deleted or duplicated with fake data. But I remember utilizing some sensitive information in some of the companies I worked for. In some companies, that sensitive information is very important. For example, like in healthcare, race and their age, those are important. They are not biased. They are actually some of the important features. But in some of the companies, especially maybe for some marketing models, these sensitive information actually got high weightage. So in simple terms, I think based on the sensitive information, models are biased. So it should be changed, but I don't think it was changed. But in simple terms, I think marketing, that's how marketing models work, right? But recent days, because of the federal and state laws change, all the companies are forced to either delete the sensitive information, like their age, income, race, or they are forced to give transparent information to the user. For example, if they are using the sensitive information and if the user requests them, asks them how they are utilizing this particular user information, they have to clearly explain how it is utilized and how their promotions has influenced by their that particular user data. It is getting complicated, and I think government and the society is taking new steps towards improving the user privacy and reducing the bias. I'm quite sure with this sensitive information, definitely the machine learning models are going to get rid of the bias and the security issues. And coming to the other important aspects like maybe ethics, again, we have just human validations. We depend on explainable AI and constant feedback. Yeah.
So when it comes to privacy, I think Nordstrom takes privacy very seriously of their customers. We truly believe that customers own their data, and we make sure that things are very transparent when they visit our website. And we also make sure that they know how we are using their data, basically providing them the best shopping experience when they visit our website. And talking about bias and ethics, I think there is a separate team that does routine checks when it comes to understanding the outputs of the NLP models. And there are also meetings that happen where we regularly discuss latest research papers related to this particular domain, so that we are up to date with latest things that we can develop and include in our process. So these are the things that we have.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, you're like pretty deep in seeing the most recent literature. That's cool. Did you have something to say, Divya?
Yeah, so is Nordstrom using all this sensitive data to make predictions?
Not really. Not really.
Yeah. I think in recommendation systems or maybe item similarities, it's not needed as well.
I mean, product data is used.
Yeah, true. Yeah, in product data side, I think user security and bias are not very big topics because we don't even use the user data, right? That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, do you feel when you say, you're transparent with the customer, do you feel customers trust that nowadays? Just with everything that goes on with, say, data breaches, for example, do you think, I'm not saying you guys don't make the most, effort to stay ethical. I know that. I'm just saying, do you think customers trust us?
That's what we strive for. Yeah.
So when you say when the Nordstrom being very transparent, so can the customer ask how the data is utilized, or is it more like just clearly mentioning all the data that you're capturing in the user account so that the user use how is the procedure? Because recent days I have been hearing a lot about new rules in federal government and the state government about user privacy. It really became a quite interesting topic in my company and most of the other companies where my friends are working on. So I'm really interested to see how the Nordstrom is handling that case.
So Nordstrom clearly mentions on their website how the data is being used. So any customer can visit the website and see and read how the data will be used.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess the discussion I started with was like more on generative AI and like how do you sort of critique that, I suppose. And for the adversarial nibble example I gave, Google has a procedure which is kind of like an actor-critic model where they use this data that is crowdsourced to then train a classifier which says either this is safe or unsafe. And if it's unsafe, then it just kind of rejects that input and then sort of recreates a new image that then is able to pass the check. But yeah, so, okay, we've only got a few minutes left, so I wanted to go to the last question, which is, how do you see the role of NLP evolving within business applications in the next few years? Yeah, go ahead, Shubham.
I think it is going to impact almost each and every problem domain. With the advent of these new generative models, I think it is going to impact each and every domain that falls in the domain of NLP problems, whether it is question answering or summarization or any other domain. I think prompt engineering is something that is going to pick up a lot. And the other, I think text and image-based problems are going to be solved way more quickly. Another thing I can think of is that even though we have these new ways of solving these problems, the evaluation frameworks will remain, the importance of evaluation frameworks will remain the same. Even though we will use these models, we will, at the end of the day, you'll have to evaluate them and see how they're actually performing, given the business problem at hand. So yeah, that's what I think.
I personally believe that with this improving NLP, there will be better chatbots and documentation will become much easier. It will become a virtual assistant to people. But apart from all these, I'm particularly excited about how it is going to impact language translation and how it is going to reduce the barriers between different countries in the world, how it's going to make the world, how it's going to bring different countries, make the world much closer. In addition to that, I am also excited to see the impact of advanced NLP in automation, especially because in initial days, I used to believe computer vision and robotics have much influence weightage in complete automation, not just what we do in computer, but a robo coming to a particular person and helping them. If I describe a smart home, where a smart fridge automatically predict groceries and order the groceries automatically, and maybe a kids taking care robot take care of it. Those are all vision and robotics, not NLP. So I was under the assumption that NLP will not have much weightage on that complete automation. But eventually I changed my opinion after seeing how NLP is utilized in reinforcement learning, how we can provide NLP-based feedback in the reinforcement learning, and how we can provide NLP instructions to robots. It really made the process much easier. That is really quite exciting. In fact, after ChatGPT release also, I'm like, I think, yeah, it's great.
I'm very sorry to do this. But Brad, you don't get to talk anymore.
I'm so sorry, Brad.
No,
It's okay. Thanks, everybody.
We have to wrap it up. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, in that case, thanks everyone for listening, and also thanks to our speakers for their insightful contributions. Yeah.